What's up? What's up? What's up? What up? Oh my gosh. We got all these people in the waiting room. Somebody let them in. Oh, let's see. Bunch of note takers is what we got. There's a real person. How's it going? What's up, everybody? Can you hear me?
Adam Whitney, good afternoon. I can hear you.
Okay, cool, man. Cool. Yeah. Gosh. We got to do something about these note takers. Trying to get in here. Hey, Vince, what's up, man? Good to see you again.
How's it going?
Good, man. Saritha, welcome. I think we're streaming live on YouTube again too, which is pretty cool. Um, cool. Well, I figured we just did 5 straight days of training on how to raise capital for real estate deals, and then yesterday we did a recap um, plus, we kind of got to go through some Q&A and then how to like find some deals and stuff like that. So, really just trying to remove all the obstacles for people to go out and start buying good real estate deals. You guys heard why I'm so excited about today's real estate market. It's pretty exciting. Less competition, adjusting for the prices and the circumstances that we have, no big deal. So today I just want to spend the last day of this week making sure that everybody has what they need to start doing stuff next week. And um, for the people who are in our community, we're gonna do a capital raising challenge starting not Monday but Tuesday. Um, Tuesday we'll start that. So there'll be instructions that go out, and I'll participate with you guys, and it'll be a good time. We'll get some capital raised for our real estate deals. Then today, I really just want to just do a Q and A. I just want to chat real estate. So if you're on if you're on YouTube, you can um, you could yeah, okay, cool. You can put a comment in, and we'll tackle some of these things. Oh man, Andrew asked, how would I go about buying my first Section 8 house? Well, the purpose of buying a Section 8 house, I suppose, is for a rental. I do like the Section 8 houses, guarantee government checks. You know those folks are going to be paying, they're going to be paying. So to me, that's a good niche to be in. Now, of course, your tenant class can be a challenge. I own a myriad of rentals in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, so I really like the C-class rentals. They do cash flow. I had 10 units up there. I'm down to six, and they net about 21 or 20 net 2,200 bucks a month, which is pretty good up there. But to get my first Section 8 rental, I mean, you got to start getting in front of the people who own them, which means you got to start doing some direct to seller marketing. If you if you're using any of the kind of the lead softwares like Batchleads or PropStream or anything like that, they all have the ability to kind of look at what is already Section 8 and Section 8 approved, or you can get some houses Section 8 approved depending on the area. So really, it's about marketing to get in front of those people. And the other thing I would tell you, Andrew, is to make sure that you're buying Section 8 rentals in a place where it's going to make sense financially and it's going to cash flow. A lot of people talk about cash flow and they don't really give good, accurate numbers. So for the people in here, cash flow is just simply what I'm going to collect in gross rent. So if the rents are $1,000 or $2,000 minus your payment, which is your principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, typically together, PITI, minus your maintenance and repairs, minus your capital expenditures, minus your vacancy, and minus your property management. That is what equals your net cash flow. So just making sure the Section 8 rentals you're going to buy actually achieves the goals that you're trying to achieve. But it starts with marketing. If I was going to go after my first one right now, I would pull a list, um, pick up the phone and start calling those owners or send mail to those owners and generate some conversations. I would also let all the wholesalers in that area that I'm targeting know that I'm looking for Section 8 rentals. I would also let all the agents know that I'm looking for Section 8 rentals. So I mean, that's step one is starting to get leads. And then step two is analyzing the deal like we just talked about to make sure it meets your goals. There's really two analytical lenses for a rental. One is how much capital am I going to need to leave in the deal if I'm going to fix it up or something like that. Do what we would consider a BRRRR on it, a buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat strategy. You need to be you're all in. So your purchase, your rehab, your closing costs, your holding costs, all that needs to be all in at 75% of the after repair value or the appraised value. So you can pull all or most of your cash back out. So that's part one. And then if you have a loan for 75% of the fixed up value, what is that monthly payment going to be? So now I'm looking for a spread between my monthly payment and what I can collect in rents. And it really is that simple. We've bought a lot of rentals like that that actually cash flow for us. And if you look through those two analytical lenses and you start talking to agents, wholesalers, start potentially doing some marketing direct to the Section 8 type houses, then you'll be able to make a smart offer on those properties. Cool. Let me pull up the checks. I think I saw something else in there. Lori, go ahead. Buying tax lien properties. You can either come off mute, Lori,
I-
and just ask, or you can type it, whatever you feel comfortable with.
Yeah, I'm off mute. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so yeah, I've been looking at tax lien properties like land and houses.
Where at?
The Metroplex area, Dallas Fort Worth, surrounding areas mainly. And then also I've looked down towards like San Antonio area, just some really busy areas for the most part, and looked at some land in some rural areas surrounding those areas as well. So, my question was, so if I buy a house, let's say on a tax lien, and um, like, well, let me just tell you what my thinking is. I live in the country. I have a house that's like built in the 1966. So anytime I want to do any updates or electrical work or any of that, I don't have to have any inspections because I guess the property's so old and just where I live. So my question is like if I buy a property in the city and I want to rent it out, do you think I'll need to have inspections just to rent it? Or if I want to use people that I know that do really quality work um, to help me, would I have to have people that are licensed, or can I use people that are not necessarily licensed but just know what they're doing?
Those are all great questions, Lori. I'm not drawing the exact link on the tax lien portion of it, but in terms of if you live out in the country, if you go buy a house in, the more metropolitan DFW area, will you have to get things permitted, use licensed contractors, those kind of things? Um, Honestly, the answer is very local dependent. So I'll give you some examples. And are you going to be doing a whole bunch of rehab, like a bunch of construction work? Some cities are going to make you do the permitting. So if
Right.
you if you go into Tampa as an example and you just start doing a big rehab, they're going to red sticker your property pretty quickly for not pulling permits. But if you go into a more rural area where I'm at, like Spring Hill or somewhere north of where I'm at, then they could care less.
Yeah.
So it's really city and county dependent. I would imagine, I'm guessing in DFW, there are probably some areas there that they are gonna want to see you pull permits, but I wouldn't let that stop you, honestly. Um, there are a lot of people will just use subcontractors and not even use general contractors. So look, they'll use a construction guy, they'll use a handyman, they'll use a flooring person, they'll use you know what I'm saying? So they'll use all the different subs and they'll manage the project themselves. And if they need permits pulled, they'll hire a GC just to pull the permits.
Okay.
And they'll do that for relatively cheap, oftentimes a few $100. So I wouldn't let having to get permits um, be an obstacle to doing the thing. What you really want to know, the question you really want to know is how long is the permitting process where you're at? Like if you're going to go do it in Dallas proper, like what is that permitting process like? Honestly, I would start and say Chat GPT and just start asking it those kind of questions. And then I would start talking to general contractors in that specific area who do a lot of work or pull a lot of permits and ask them questions about the permitting process there, just so you get a good understanding and you can plan for it when you actually buy the property.
Okay. All right. Well, that definitely helped with how I go about, figuring those pieces out. Um, so if I like, well, the tax lien properties, I'm just looking at a bunch of different properties that are coming up for auction and found some really good deals. I just don't know what gonna have to do a lot of research to find out, the back taxes, the title, all that kind of stuff. But and I kind of figured out how to do a lot of that kind of research. But yeah, it was just mainly like if like I'm looking at a property in Arlington that it's a two-story house, four bedroom, three bath. Uh, right now the minimum bid on the tax is like 14.5. And, if I went in there with that much or quite a bit more and won it, and I wanted to either do a lot of uh, the work with family members or a good friend that does plumbing, electrical, roofs, everything, then that's why I was asking about the permits. But I'll just have to research that area and find out what kind of permits would be needed and, if I were just going to hire a general contractor.
Yeah, I think if it depends on what kind of work you're doing too, Lori. Like if I'm gonna have somebody do a roof, typically you're gonna want to get a. Now, here's the other thing. Let me ask you this: are you buying these to make them rentals or to flip them and make profit?
It just depends on the property. That particular property, I would think I would want to sell it.
Okay, yeah. So if you're gonna sell it, let's if you put a roof on a new house and you're gonna flip it and sell it, you're gonna want it to be permitted because otherwise you're just gonna have problems on the back end when you go to sell it.
Okay.
For example. Same thing if you're to do any of the big major mechanicals, like if you're going to put in an HVAC or an addition or take down a wall or do something with plumbing, you're going to want those specialty contractors to pull permits so that there's no problem selling it. Now, if you're just going to make it a rental, then you could probably get away with, maybe not doing that because you plan to hold on to it for a while.
Okay.
Um, Yeah, and it's Lori, it's so city and county dependent. And it's like, you talk to somebody in Mississippi that I don't think there's a person in that entire state who's ever had to pull a permit. But you come to, certain places in Texas or Florida where, it's more metropolitan and they do get kind of stringent and they can mess your deals up by red tagging you and dragging it out for a long period of time.
Yeah.
The other thing I would consider on the just the tax lien side of it is, are you already familiar with the tax lien process there? It sounds like you might be.
Yes, I've been looking at lots of different areas and how to go about making bids and going to auctions, forms you need to have done prior to the auction, things like that.
Yeah, you gotta try to get, you can get a lot of title work done before an auction. You want to get some property condition work done before you go buy that. And then there's like a redemption period on those, right?
Yes, yes, uh-huh.
Yeah, I actually had um, you get a loan on a property and you impound the escrow is what it's called, meaning they take care of the whoever owns the loan for the property, who you're paying every month. They typically take care of the taxes and insurance. I got an Airbnb in Alabama, and the lender didn't pay my taxes, and somebody bought my tax lien. So I started getting all this mail that I'm like, holy crap, some investor's trying to take this house from me. So I had to call the lender and get them to pay for the tax lien. But they have 3 years. I have a 3-year redemption period in Alabama. So I was able to get it all paid up and it was fine. And that person made interest on their money, obviously,
Yeah,
which was smart on their part. But yeah, it's kind of a trip. The whole tax lien game's kind of a trip.
yeah. Okay, well, I appreciate it. And that gives me some ideas on what I need to do as far as other types of research to kind of move forward with this because um, I kind of looked at another platform before I looked at y'all and learned how to do some of this stuff. So it's kind of
Oh,
starting to make
great.
sense. It's just a lot of work.
Yeah, and I mean there is a lot to do, Lori, as you start to kind of figure out how to find the houses, how to analyze them, how to buy them, how to get the money for them. I mean, there is there's a sequence of event that has to happen to do it smartly and actually be profitable for sure. But you can only do one thing at a time. Like the first thing is really to go out and find the property that you want
Right,
and
right.
get good analysis on it and make the offer. Once you get through that part, then you'll figure the rest out, and you've got all of us to lean on, and I'm here to help, of course. So
I'm just thinking I mean, this is all so new and just, scary. I'm just thinking that if I outright own the property, it'll slow down some of that pressure to hurry up and get it done, even though most likely I'm going to get investors, to help me with the rehab of the property and things like that,
that's right.
or even to get started just buying these tax lien properties. But I realize I'm going to be tied up on some of them, so I'm going to start, at the lower prices, but try to find really good deals, and then eventually move into the higher price ones. But there's some really good deals out there. I'm just trying to figure out how to pull it all together so I can buy one and then get going from there to get it either flipped to sell or to rent.
Yep. Yeah, you're on the right track. It's just one one step at a time.
Yeah,
I
it's a
I
lot.
look back. I look back, Lori. I remember um, becoming a part of the seven-figure flipping community in 2020. I told this story a little bit yesterday, but I was like trying to build the entire business A to Z. Like I wanted to go so fast, and I was doing the things I was supposed to do, like generate leads and find the houses to buy. Um, but I just remember some of the best advice I'd received was, you just what we do is like a conveyor belt. First it starts with like you have to have leads, you have to have houses to buy. So you start to generate leads and then you start to make offers and then you start to allocate some resources like capital to buy it, either your own or hard money or private money. And then you get into the operation of repositioning the property with a rehab and then exiting the property or, selling the contract to it or whatever it may be. But they just told me, hey, chill out, man. Like you don't have to build the whole business A to Z. You just need to do part one and then part two
Right.
and then part three.
Right.
So that was just really eye-opening for me, and it kind of got me out of my own way a little bit.
So I've already talked to two family members that are willing to, help me fund some of these just to get the properties. So, but I want it to be all, in writing and everything so they feel secure. Um, so what type of terms would you write up for somebody that just wants to help you buy the tax lien property to start with?
So are you talking about a tax lien that is like a few $1,000 and
Right.
what's the rate that the tax lien gets in Texas?
That I don't know. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you mean if you get it and then it's held up to give the owner a little while to pay it off, and if they don't, you own it? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, correct. Because most of these tax liens, these people are going to pay them off and then you're just going to get your money back with interest.
Right. Well, if with usually with 1 year, you get your money back plus 25% interest. And if it goes on for 2 years, you get your money back plus 50% interest.
That's crazy. That's a great return.
Yeah.
Well, I would arbitrage that tax lien scenario where I would tell them, whatever the term, if it takes a year to find out if you're going to get your money back with interest, I would literally just write a promissory note
Okay.
for that term, that timeline. So if it's 12 months, 12 months. And then the interest on the money is a discussion you should have with them based on what their goals are, Lori. And I wouldn't tell you to dictate that. I would tell you to find out what they want and ask them, where's their money right now? What kind of return is it getting? A lot of times they'll tell you things like, well, it's just in my savings account getting less than 1%. And you say, well, what if I could give you more than 1%, what would you want it to be? And they're like, well, I'd take five. Okay, great. You get that money at 5%. You're guaranteed to get 25% on that money or a
Mm-hmm.
house.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd
So
be,
would so would you then write it up as a 1 year promissory note and with the, as long as I get the house in a year, then I'm going to give you your money back plus, or but then if I have to wait a year to get the house, then I'm going to have to do the rehab on it and won't be
yeah,
able
well,
to
then
get
you
it.
can you can get new money at that time.
Okay.
Yeah, then you would just bring in new money at that time.
Okay.
Or
Okay.
another thing you could do, Lori, is write an extension. But my concern from you there is that the extension would feel overcomplicated to some of these people.
Yeah.
Um, so I would just probably write it for that 12 months. Balloon payment at the end, no payments during the hold because you're not getting payments.
Right.
And at the end of 12 months, if you're getting the money back with interest, great, then you pay them back with interest. If you're getting the house, then you go, hey, cool. We have options,
Yeah.
Lori. I can either give you your money back with interest, or you can roll it into this deal that we're acquiring and be a part of this next investment with us.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, pretty
Okay.
simple.
Because I'm
Cool.
talking to somebody that's 52, and so she can't even look at retiring until for 13 years. So that money's just sitting there in her 401(k), which I'm sure I'm going to learn more soon about how to go about helping her or knowing what to do to help her get that money.
Yeah, for sure. Lori, and we have our first classes on Tuesday.
Yes. Uh-huh.
And then we're going to spend the next 8 weeks kind of going deeper into the specifics and the nuance of how to on all these things. But
Okay.
we're gonna launch a capital raising challenge together with the whole
Okay.
community. So we'll all be kind of going through it as a group to include me.
Great. Well, thank you so much. I'm sorry it took up so much time.
No, it's great. That's why I'm on today. And yeah, anything to give back and provide some value. We did get a couple other questions. Andrew said he has around 100K waiting to deploy into the Section 8, and there's this company where they charge a 6K fee per house, and they were pretty much do anything for me, and it will be 95% passive, worth it as a first time. So it sounds like they're a turnkey company. Um, Invest at your own risk. I don't know that company. I don't know if they're legitimate. I'll tell you, I have personally, when I started investing, I had, saved up 35 grand and I put it down on an investment house from a turnkey company. It came with already rehabbed with a tenant in it and property management in place. It was a really good company. I actually knew the owner of the company and I knew that person's character and I knew other people who invested with them. So, Andrew, I would highly encourage you to go really deep on vetting that company, who they are, what their values are, people who have worked with them, and not just the people they tell you about, but looking up their Google reviews and what anybody on Reddit saying about them. Like I would just go really deep into underwriting that company before I put any of my capital with them. Uh, just to make sure it's totally legit. Turnkey companies are really normal in this space. Some are good, some are not good. So I would encourage you to kind of vet them out. 6K seems kind of steep to me, but if they're good, it could be worth it. Vince, great question, Vince. Vince has crushed it over the last 12 months with a PPL company, which is pay per lead. If you're in YouTube world or on here, you don't know what pay per lead is. These are companies that are doing typically digital marketing like SEO or Google Ads or something like that to generate leads on your behalf and you're buying the leads. So he's buying leads from a PPL company. He got a 6x return, which is fantastic, with just a couple of deals under contract and two others out there. What would you recommend as the next method, direct to seller for additional deals? Okay, Vince, my man, is there a reason you can't just do more pay per lead?
Uh, I'm trying that. I've signed up with a couple other companies. The deals, the leads, that would be phenomenal.
I think I lost you, Vince.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I got you now.
I said, yeah, that's what I would love to do. If I could get these guys to just send me double the leads, that would be phenomenal. But I did sign up with a couple others that are just a little slow with getting leads to me. But
Okay.
I'm going to see how those go.
Yeah, I think being smart about that, not just dumping all the money back into that channel, but it's launching a new channel. Um, it's different, right? Like you're used to PPL. Which PPL provider did you have good results with?
Property leads.
Property leads, yeah, fantastic. Those guys do good work. So you've got that pretty dialed in. Maybe motivated sellers or Leadzolo or somebody else is a nice add to that, just to kind of um, your same kind of channel, same kind of process system built around it. I think all that's good. Um, the next natural thing, in my opinion, for you to launch, I would squeeze all the juice I can out of PPL. If you're having good results, continue to squeeze the juice out of that. Watch the return on ad spend as long as you stay, 4 to 1 or better. I would keep that going and maximize that the best I can since you're already pretty dialed in. And then I would start to look at potentially adding something like a direct mail system. It's hard for a company to go from like PPL to say cold calling and SMS because cold calling and SMS puts so much noise in the top of your funnel. So like you will get a lot of leads, but there'll be a lot of garbage. And your ability to sift through the garbage and find the gold will be really critical. But also what that does, so like right now, if I'm working on your team and I'm used to working, a certain amount of PPL leads, and then you dump in a bunch of cold call and SMS leads, I may start to have some, like it may be a point of diminishing returns because now I'm focused on all this other garbage instead of the good leads that I'm used to closing. So you just have to be careful about it. It's not just about the lead gen, it's also about the infrastructure to take care of those leads.
Yeah, that makes sense actually, because
Yeah,
it's a totally different type of lead when you start cold calling people.
for sure. That's why like direct mail is probably even a little better lead than cold call. By and large. But again, it's a different mechanism. So, like cold call or PPL leads come in. Like I just looked at our data this morning. We had a $5,000 budget on motivated sellers, formerly need to sell my house fast. Brought them back in because the leads are cheap again. And I think we brought 63 leads into our company over the past couple of weeks from that channel. 20 of them got disputed, 16 were approved. I think a few of them are still in pending. It's about 45-ish um, non-disputed leads. And of those 45 non-disputed leads, about another 20 or 25 of them were dead. They were dead in my system, which means that there was no equity. You mostly no equity. They could have been dead for other reasons, but they were mostly no equity. So that left me with like 16 live leads. And I know for PPL, I'm about, between 1 out of 13 and 1 out of 20 to close a deal. And of those 16 live leads, it looks like two of them will get signed as probably wholesale deals.
Okay.
Uh, I know Matt Foote on the runway call was asking, but you were on that call, I think.
Yeah, it was. I didn't want to jump in and confuse with more information. I didn't
No,
want to give them another one to think about.
no, it's good. No, it's good stuff. No, it's really good stuff. Yeah, but I love property leads. I like those guys over there. They do a good job.
Yeah, I've
Um,
had a couple other ones, and this one's been the best so far.
yep. I mean, they're all pretty much doing a very similar thing. Vince, a lot of it is like I think I told this story on that call when we were talking with Matt that people for a couple of years were complaining about all the PPL leads and their garbage, and I get a lot of junk. And we were getting 4 to 1, we did $1 million off those leads. And the difference really was just like how we cared for them. And like we didn't care that we were disputing 35% of them because they met dispute criteria. And we were just able to quickly siphon through the bad ones and the good ones, and then be incredibly diligent on the ones that came in that were quality leads. And honestly, that's the difference.
100%.
Yeah. Cool, man. I appreciate that question.
Yeah, I appreciate the answer.
Oh, cool, cool. Armin, what's up, man? Good to see you again. Armin was on the training last week.
How's it going?
Welcome back.
Yeah, thank you. I got a I got a quick question about I guess more about attracting more private money. Can you talk a little bit more about because what I've got from the previous phone calls, so the one of the I guess low-hanging fruits would be just approaching people with 401k and IRA accounts and ask them to convert the accounts into self-directed IRA accounts and eventually sign the promissory note with them and ask them to invest into my real estate deals and obviously use for that reason custodians service or whatever that's called.
Yeah.
Is there any other um, kind of similar kind of long hanging approach, fruit approach? So in order to work and find pretty much just private money for gap funding.
Yeah, private money. That's a great question. Well, probably the most fertile area to farm for private money is your warm network,
Hmm. I
right?
exhausted
And
everything.
yeah, like your warm network are going to be people bringing capital into your deals are bringing capital into your deals because they trust you.
Hmm.
So if you think about that, your warm network, when I say warm, I mean anybody who's in your phone or anybody who's in on, following you and watching your stuff on social media is really the people who are most likely to jump into something quickest with you. So if you think about that, the most important thing you can do is encourage those people to reach out to you to talk about investing in real estate deals with you. So the way that I typically do that is, and if you guys go to my Facebook page and scroll through, like you'll see that I am always raising capital for our deals. Even if I've already got capital allocated to my deals, usually if you guys are following me on Facebook, you see me post about a deal, I already have a lender on it. I'm actually raising for my next deals, right? Because I know that if I post Armin right now, something like, hey, man, we've been buying two houses a week. What's really cool is, I've been able to bring people in completely passive to invest in my deals with me. They love it. They're making a great fixed return. If you want to get into real estate and not have to deal with any of the toilets or any of that stuff, and you're curious about what I'm doing and how you can get involved with me, just send me a message. And I don't get like a ton of messages. I'll get like, one or two people every time I do that who want to have a conversation. Then we'll have that conversation and they'll get added to my list, right? I'll maintain a list of people who have expressed interest. A lot of times in that conversation, they may want to see some like details or some numbers or like what kind of houses I'm looking at. We'll end up exchanging emails, so I'll get their email addresses. So I'll also be able to send emails out to the people I'm talking to. And over time, you start to kind of grow it. And I think if you guys remember, um, one of the days Bill was talking about, he's got like, a few hundred people that he typically works with, but maybe he has 800 people he's built over the years on an email list. And for some of you guys, you might think like, dude, 800 people, that's a lot of people. He's been doing this for 10 plus years. So he's probably only got like the most serious people on that list, right? Because you're going to talk to folks like I still talk to folks today who are like, I have $1,000. I'm like, I can't, it's not a ton I can do with that. Here's what I would recommend you do next, right? And I'll give them something, um, some type of recommendation, usually around, financial health type things, growing your savings, putting it in a money market account, those kind of things, until you get enough money that you can invest in a meaningful way into a real estate deal. Um, did I answer any of that question
No,
directly? Or?
you did. I guess the foundation for this kind of question was just the previous conversation when you mentioned some property lead, some kind of platform that already focused on that kind of stuff. I stumble upon a couple of those. So they promise for $150 they will bring you one lead, and they kind of, in air quotes, qualify that lead kind of. But again, I've tried, spent just a little bit, and I don't know. It's like,
And they're bringing you leads of people who will invest with you?
yeah, my assumption was no. My assumption was pretty much just, I guess they have a list of like people who is interested in investing in real estate, and some I'm not sure. I don't really know. I don't want to even
Yeah, Armin,
speculate on
I
that.
would tell you that that's mildly interesting. Here's what I don't like about that specifically
Mhm.
is you don't know, those people don't know who you are.
True.
So for $150, you bring me a person who doesn't know who I am. It's going to take me time to build a relationship and build enough trust where they're confident in what I'm doing that they're going to want to invest with me, generally speaking. So I don't necessarily love that, but I would rather just talk about what I'm doing to the people who are in my world, even if it's sending out some text messages to people in my phone. I'm telling you guys, people, I think most people are sleeping on their cell phones. Like, you know, I don't know if I can see how many contacts I have in here. I've had the same number for like 20 years, so I know I got a lot of people in here. And I've told you guys stories last week, Armin. Like I had some military buddies reach out from 20 years ago, from when we were both broke. We were both making 40K a year. And, now they're not broke. Now they have cash and they go, well, I only know two people doing real estate, and I was about to give my money to Cardone, but I kind of know you better and trust you better. What kind of opportunities do you have for me? You know what I mean? So like, luckily that guy was following me on Facebook, but if not, I should be texting you. There's probably three to five people in your phone right now that are thinking about doing something with real estate. And you don't even know it because they don't even know that they can work with you. So it really does start with like a big time awareness campaign. And like for all the people who are starting with us on Tuesday, we're basically gonna do a big awareness campaign where we're gonna shed our secret identities. So we're going to get rid of our current identity and bring out our secret identity because we're all like secretly being real estate investors and not telling anybody about it. So we're going to get rid of that. We're going to talk about the fears behind that. And we're going to start opening up our aperture and letting people know what we're doing. We're going to do like a whole thing over the next month. You will be so surprised, man. You will be so surprised. You will be so surprised if you just like every day talk about what you're doing for 30 straight days in real estate and then inviting people to have a conversation with you. Those people, Armin, are going to be way better than somebody could give you for 150 bucks because they know you already. They already know who you are. They're in your world. You've got some level of trust with those people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't think you need to go pay for leads, is my point. I think you need to go tap your own warm network in a consistent way over a longer period of time
Yeah.
where you're consistently talking about what you're doing. And guys, I'm not talking about like writing some polished, I know everything about real estate type stuff either. I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is just telling people what is going on. Like, for example, if you were on the training with us last week, just getting onto your social media, turning the camera on, or writing a post and saying, hey, I just worked with some mentors on how I can get the best real estate deals and bring people into them with me. And I'm really excited about what we have coming up. If you're interested, I would love to have a conversation with you about getting into real estate deals. So if you've been thinking about getting into real estate deals, send me a message. Like just something that simple. And then every day, just kind of documenting what you're learning, documenting what you're doing, and the direction you're taking your company. Total game changer. Total game changer.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised, man. You'd be surprised. I'll tell you, like, just watching people do this and like the money they're able to raise is absolutely insane. My friend Pender, she did this training and jumped in. She was one of the people Bill talked about where she's like, I don't even want to post in the ready room. She was on day 3, like Wednesday of Bill's training, and she was like just trying to do a little bit of it. And she's messaging me going like, I don't even know what to say. I got like 3 or 4 people who now want to talk to me. And then she ended up raising a lot, like over 500 grand um, to do a deal like within a month or 2 months. It was very quick. It was insane. So you really just don't know what's in your warm network. Kevin, what's up, man? Welcome.
Hey, thanks.
New
A little
Jersey.
late, but glad to be here.
Hey, I appreciate you jumping on. Hey, if you guys came from the Capital Leap training where you saw Bill for 5 days, you don't know who I am. I'm Adam Whitney. I'm the CEO of Seven Figure Flipping. Also partners with Bill in our residential real estate company, Blackjack Real Estate. So I run basically both of those teams. and do this stuff all day, every day. So Bill thought it would be cool if we didn't just end the 5 days of training. We just kind of continued over the next 2 days just to help people get to that next step, either for raising capital or finding their first or their next deal. And for me, I've done well over, I don't even know the count, honestly, definitely over 400 residential deals, flips, wholesales, creative finance deals, you name it. Um, Bought 3 apartment buildings. You guys see Dave Morse on here is one of my partners in the commercial syndication side. Bought 2023, we bought 2 apartments in Jacksonville, North Carolina, uh, Azalea Gardens and Cardinal Village, a 90 unit and 134 unit. And then last year we bought a 122 unit apartment in Triangle Park, Durham, North Carolina. So really, really awesome properties and opportunities there. So a lot of basically just the ability to take what Bill's taught me and implement it. And you guys might think like, oh, well, you got Bill Allen. Well, Bill's not raising any of the money for me. I've got to go do it on my own. He's more of a, teach a man to fish kind of guy. So all of it works. So I'm here, still doing it. Cool. Glad you're here, Kevin. We were just talking about buying tax liens in DFW. We were talking about buying Section 8 properties and potentially using turnkey companies. And then with Vince, we talked about lead generation. He's doing a lot of paper lead type lead generation. So if you guys have any questions, today's the day to let's bust through anything you got going on in your business that's preventing you from getting the next thing, whether it's raising the next million or 10 million or finding your next deal or 10 deals, doesn't really matter. Happy to talk about any of it or talk about what we're doing in our business. And if you're on YouTube, I can't actually see the YouTube stuff, so I'm counting on Hamer to help me out if there's anybody on there who has questions or wants to talk about anything. I think we bought 2 houses last week. Closed on, I think we closed one on Thursday, one on Friday. In Georgia. We buy houses in Georgia, in Florida and Tennessee. Cool. Well, look, guys, I'm not going to hold you guys hostage here. Uh, Sarita, 1,750,000. That's the number I see you put in there. Is that how much capital you want to raise? You can just type it in the chat if you want. Oh, shit, yeah. It should be you might be unmuted. I don't see a little mute thing on your Sarita, so you might actually be unmuted.
You hear me?
Yeah, oh yeah, I can hear you. Yes, ma'am.
I don't know how it happened. Okay, how you doing?
I'm wonderful, and you?
Well, I need some help.
All
I
right.
have more properties um, than I know what to do with. Just need some money.
Oh, well,
I have
congratulations.
uh,
Congratulations. That's a good problem to have.
not really. I need them to be liquid.
Well, so do
I
you already own these properties?
no. I do foreclosures, and people come to. I've been in real estate over 23 years, so I know how to source properties, etc. But I have it's a horse ranch, um, 27 stalls, custom home. I've been trying to see how I can structure a deal. I have to have it in by next week. Um, to, like a LOI to present
Okay.
to the owners. And I don't know, I got an idea. I was going to do like 1 million down and then like the 750,000, I was going to see if they would do seller finance, like first 3 years, 0% interest. I don't know if I should do a balloon payment. I know I'm jumping around. I know what I
No,
want
no,
to
this is
say.
really good. Yeah, this is good. I like the deal structure so far. Okay,
Okay,
so can I
so
ask some questions?
yeah, let me finish.
Okay.
I just want to add this little bit and then because I need your help. Okay, so for the first 3 years, I was going to do 0% interest because the property has been sitting and it needs some touch up. There is what is it from four? I was going to try for 10 years or 15 years to stretch out the 750,000 uh, and 1% interest from those years and let it balloon at the end. But I don't know because this is in a trust. The people really don't need the money. It's in an HOA and they have like it sits on 20 acres, three different parcels, but they don't want the property what do you turned into a subdivision, you
Okay.
know. The water is like $90 a month, and they don't want to allow for a well to be drilled, even though legally you can make it, so that they'll have to. But that's what they've got in the CCNRs that they don't want somebody that comes in. The original owners died, so it's in a trust. So the people in the trust, if they would just stand up, they could get this done, because that's why the property hasn't sold because of the water thing. But it's
Okay.
an awesome property. I was gonna try to do like 1 million down and then try to flip it, or try to get somebody to help me so I can do a cash deal for 1 million, maybe 350,000, then just flip it to somebody. That was my two exit strategies.
Okay. And if you flipped it to somebody, Sarita, what would that look like? So let's say you get this thing for 1.75 million. Would you have to do anything to it to sell it to somebody else, or could you sell it as is for more money?
What I want to do is sell it as is for more money.
Okay. And
But
are
I
you
want to
confident that it would sell for more money? And if so, how much?
absolutely. The properties, the comps that I have around there so far are like 1,400,000 and something thousand, but they don't have this place has 27 horse stalls. She used to raise horses. It's a Ruby Ranch, but they had it for all the fairs that came in town. Oh, just big, but it far exceeds anything that's comparable to it. So it would definitely sell. Um, the broker, I've been working with him. Uh, he put an additional 300,000 on top, and that's really where I'm coming at him. Well, he's not going to get it unless he does the sub two. If he does the creative financing, I'll go right in with the 500,000. I'll go with that. But if he doesn't, then I'm just going to try to do a cash deal because I've already got a commitment for the million. It's that 750,000 that I got to try to structure. That's why I need some help if I can try to get it structured.
Yeah, I think I love your strategy actually. So if you've already got somebody in for 1 million to bring the down payment, then in that LOI, I would just what I like to do when I submit an LOI is give them like two
Two
other
options.
options.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's
Obviously
what
they're
I'm,
all favorable to me, right? They're all gonna be I'm good with any of them. Um, but it gives them a little bit of feeling of control. If you already have the million, I would make everything after the million structured in some kind of seller carry, right? So you said sub two. Is there debt on this property right now?
None,
None.
none at
Okay, so
all.
this would be like an owner. They would do some type of seller carry or owner carry where they can structure however they want. And obviously a big benefit to them too, Sarita, is that their tax liability won't be as big because they'll get paid that money over time, which I would make sure that, I emphasize that.
Well, the thing of it is, that's where I don't know, because if they've got money already, that might not be one of their big things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um, to have to get those payments. That's why I was trying to see if I could do the balloon at the end, which would free me up to be able to, get that property moved. I don't
Yeah.
want to live there because it's too far out of, it's in Nevada. It's too far out, like
Okay.
a 6 hour drive from everything that I need. But it is so wonderful. If somebody just wants solitude or peace, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think you're on the exact right track. So you already got the $1 million. I think the put the $1 million down is really strong, and then putting in the LOI that you'd like to do a you would like the seller to finance the additional 750,000. And um, how quickly do you think you would be able to sell it?
Um, the reason I think very quickly, but the reason I don't advertise it very much is because the contract isn't signed. And somebody tried to go underneath me before. So I'm very careful.
Yeah,
Uh,
you want to make
Once
sure
I get it
it's
in
signed.
escrow and, have some sort of interest in it, it's different.
Yeah.
But when they did that, it set me back like about a month. And then they could not come up with the money or know how to structure a deal. So it fell back in my lap one more time.
Oh, great. Well, good for you. Yeah. You definitely want to have the contract signed before you start trying to sell it. But yeah, I think the way I would structure it is if you've already got the million down, I'd come in with the million down. I would want no payments as an option. And the no payment option would be a balloon in, say, 24 months. I would take the amortization as long as they'd let me take it from a payments perspective.
Mhm.
So the way that that would look would say, I want to basically, you're going to give me a $750,000 loan at no percent or at a low percentage amortized over a long period of times, call it even 30 years. But there's a balloon payment at 24 months, assuming you can get it sold before 24 months, right? So you're never actually going to have to pay that balloon payment. I mean, you're going to have to pay it, but it's not going to come out of your pocket. It's going to come based on you selling that property. That money comes in, that balloon gets paid. And make sure you put in the paperwork that there's no prepayment penalty. So that
Right.
way, if they do no payments for 24 months, or maybe they'll do interest only payments if you, like you said, it's a 1% interest. Um, there's a couple levers with these deals. One is the price, which I think it sounds like we're kind of set on the 1.75. Two is the term, so the time of it all. And when we talk about playing with the term, we're talking about two components, the balloon and the amortization. So, for example, we buy our houses that we live in and we get a 30-year loan. It's amortized over 30 years, right? So that's how we get our payments to be manageable so we can all afford to pay our payments to our house. Otherwise, if you buy $1 million house and you got to pay the loan off in
Trouble.
2 years, yeah, like it would be ridiculous. We couldn't do that, right? So you can say, I'll get you your money in 2 years, but I want it amortized over 20 years, which is not uncommon for commercial, by the way. Like on
Right.
our apartments, our loans are for 5 years. So I got a 6% interest rate on a $16.5 million apartment, 5 year balloon, 20-year amortization, or 25. One of them I have 20, one of them I have 25.
So the
And
average
then
is,
once
I'm
you
sorry.
buy that, Sarita, once you take title to that, it's yours. Then you have the ability to execute your plan, which, would then be to sell it to somebody else. The timeline that I would be most concerned about and thinking about is that balloon timeline based on how quickly or not quickly you'd be able to sell it. So, for example, when I think about this property, it's really unique. It's got the horse stalls, it's got all this acreage. That's really going to take the right kind of buyer. So it's probably not a property that sells super fast.
Right.
It's going to probably take you 12 to 24 months on something like that. So you want to make sure you don't get stuck holding the bag. The balloon comes due, but you haven't had the liquidity event on the asset yet.
hmm hmm I've got I've got a guy, he's loaning me the money 4%, and I was gonna take his money and sell, loan it out like at 8 or 9% while I'm trying to figure out how to make these payments. Because like what you're saying is if it takes me 24 months to do this, should I put an extension in that thing to the sellers to give me an extension of time, or how do I? They haven't agreed to anything. This is me presenting them
Yeah.
with these LOIs, you know,
Yep.
because they
So
haven't been able to sell it,
the payments you're talking about are for the loan on the million, right?
right? I got to pay that while I'm paying. That's why I didn't want any. That's why I wanted 0% for the first 3 years
Yeah.
and no payments. Give me a breather, and then they start on the fourth year at 1%, and then I start making payments. That's
Yeah.
what I'm trying for.
Well, hopefully you sell it before then and then you make your money and call it a day.
Yeah, yeah. Again, I don't know how to completely structure it. That's why I'm talking.
Well, I think your structure's I think your structure's fine, and now it's just a matter of getting it on paper and getting. So the first step is just to put the LOI together. You know about it. You've seen them probably a million LOIs. So like million down, seller carry over 15 years. Whatever your balloon payment's going to be, 3 years or 5 years, no payments, no payments, and then um after, like, 'cause once you put a balloon in place, that means you're going to have the liquidity event by the balloon payment. So I just want to be clear on that. So like right now, if you buy that, you get the $1 million, they carry the 750 grand. They say you don't have to pay us any payments for 3 years. You now have 3 years to sell that property for more
Oh,
money to
yeah,
make money. Then you're good. But you have to be confident you can sell that within that allotted time before the balloon.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like a good deal, sir. It's exciting. It's
If it wasn't so far out, I live in it myself. I just,
yeah.
it's so far out, 6 hours, have to drive back in town and do your business. But okay, that's good. And then I got another one. Um, it's a sub two as well. And I really don't want the property, but I was thinking about co-living or turning it into adult group home, the square footage and everything, it's in Texas. And I was just going to try to put a little money on top of it and let somebody else have it. I got so much going on right now. That's not all of it, but if I
Yeah.
can get any of it moving, forward, it would be great. But yeah, I missed whatever it was you were doing. Was it yesterday? How to
Yes,
raise the
ma'am.
money? Did,
Hmm.
did you record that at all?
It might be on YouTube. I think because we were broadcasting on YouTube. I don't know. I'll have to ask our team.
Yeah.
But yesterday we talked a lot more about we kind of recapped everything we did this past week, and then we were talking more about generating leads and finding good deals and that kind of thing yesterday. Um, yeah, that again, that sub two deal, if there's margin on that deal, if you can get it at a price where you can assign that deal to somebody else, that would be great. Ideally, I don't like to assign sub two deals, Sarita.
No.
The
No,
reason I don't like to do that is because I would be handing off the seller's payments to somebody else, and I would want to be confident that that somebody else is going to make that payment. Uh,
right.
so I don't particularly love to assign a sub two deal. What I would do though is take that sub two deal and just say, let's turn it into a cash deal. I can get that sub two deal for 100,000. I'm gonna put 20,000 on top, and I'm gonna sign it for 120,000 to a cash buyer, and I'll take that $20,000 assignment fee at the close. I just think there's a lot of risk with assigning the sub two deals. I've done it like 3 times, and all 3 times I've assigned it to somebody that I personally know and trust. But I would not do that. I'm not a big fan of assigning sub two deals just because of the inherent risk for the seller.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. The thing that I have, my close of escrow was supposed to be on the 4th of September, and I'm glad it was delayed, but um, the seller owes 2 payments. They're behind. There was nothing but 35,000 in equity to start with, but the property is double the size of properties around it. So it could really be a really good co-living or, something like that. But I'm not in Texas. So I was, I just got a lot on my plate and I didn't want to just trying to see how to get out of that real nice because I don't want my reputation messed up. I raised my hand to say I was going to buy it, and now, it's gone through the attorney thing, it's going to the TC, and they're coming at me. So I just don't want to put my money in it if I can help it.
Yeah, I mean, can you talk me through the numbers on that a little bit again? So, like, what's the purchase price they're asking for?
You're talking about the
The
one in
Texas
Texas.
deal?
Let me look it up here if you don't mind. Just a second. Okay. Yeah, she sent me this. All right. Let me see here. Okay, this is supposed to be to quiet my nerves. Okay, a quick recap. This is what she's saying. It's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath property located in Willis, Texas, um, with twice the square footage of other 4-2 properties in the area. So it has space to support the layout of additional rooms. The deal structure wise, it's a fairly standard sub two transaction with no additional payment terms to the seller. The 19,500 entry fee accounts for the anticipated closing costs, assignment, and attorney fees to ensure all legal binding documents such as the promissory note and deed are legitimate, especially if we were to meet the original proposed timeline of September 4th. And blah, blah. She looked forward to me
Yeah. Did she
signing the
say
thing.
what's left on the mortgage that
Let
you
me
would be
see
taking
here.
over sub to?
I think it's 330,000. Well, it's less than 330,000 because total with the equity supposedly is 335 or 340. So it's not much in there. And I asked her, was it any repairs? I rushed into this really fast before I had this other one on my plate.
Yeah, so okay, so what I'm hearing is the value, the as is value of the house is worth about 340,000. I'm curious what's owed on the loan that I'd be taking over because like
Three, it's 300 and I think 9,000 or something like
okay.
that.
So
Yeah, it's not.
there's not really a bunch of equity in this house.
No. The value is that it's twice the size. That's why it would be good for a co-living or an adult group home. Those are really popular. But that co-living, by it having those garage spaces, extra land around it, you could probably double it, the size
Yeah.
of instead of 4, get to maybe 9 or 10. And somebody wants to live in one, then they wouldn't have to pay. But there are 2 notes. If I wanted to just clean it up, pay the 2 notes, and then pay the 19,000 entry, that would be about 6,500 plus that 19,000. I could do it, but my point is I don't want to then have to, like you're saying, worry about assigning it to someone else, and I've already put my name on it.
Yeah, Sarita, is it okay if I'm just honest with you on this one?
Well, if you are any other way, I probably wouldn't respect you.
All right. Well, I would just send them an email back and say, hey, look, I'm out on this one. I got another deal that I'm buying. I'm not going to buy this one.
That's what I'm going to do
Yeah.
because I'm struggling with it, and it's
Yeah.
not
I like
comfortable.
I like the upside. If you're willing to go in and make it take all that space, turn it into all those bedrooms, make a whole co-living business out of it, renting it by the week. That's a lot of work, number one. The loans on those can be complicated too. So if you got to go put rehab on it, it's just I don't love the deal for the amount of equity that's in there. Not enough equity for me to be excited about it
Yeah,
personally. I would just say, hey, look, I got a bigger, better deal I'm working on, guys. Sorry, I'm out on this one.
I think I will.
Yes,
I'll do
ma'am.
that. I just was when I give my name or say I'm going to do something, and people are dependent on you, the worst thing you can ever do is let a person down because
Yeah,
you don't know
yeah,
how many other people, you know, will be dealing with that. So anyway, that's the
yeah,
deal.
yeah. We always want to do what we say we're going to do. I actually just had this ethical conversation with um, with some other folks, some folks in my company and whatnot. We can't just buy a bad deal, and if we provide a meaningful service to the industry, to the sellers we help, to the wholesalers we work with, to the title companies we work with, one of the best things we can do is be around for the long term.
Right,
And the way we stay around for the long term is by making smart decisions, being good stewards of our companies. And sometimes the best deal, Sarita, and you probably know this, is the one that we say no to.
right.
So
Okay,
unfortunately, sometimes that happens, and I think most people in our industry understand that. It's just, hey, this one's not going to work. We got another one we're working on. We can't do two at once. So,
okay.
oh, cool. Yeah. Hey, somebody from the team, Saritha, dropped a link in the chat for yesterday's call that we did. So if you want to check that out, um,
It's in the chat now.
in the Zoom chat, there's a little chat
Okay,
button in there. You should see a link in there that will take you to yesterday's video.
okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Cool. Love it. Love it. Love it. If anybody else is in YouTube land and has questions, drop them in there. They'll get put into the Zoom. If you guys have anything, those of you on the Zoom, if you guys have anything, feel free to drop it or come off mute and uh, let's talk about it. Okay, cool. I won't hold you guys hostage. It is Sunday. It is Sunday, so really excited. Great, great, great last week of training on raising money. Something you guys know that we do a lot of because we do a lot of real estate deals, and it's just really cool to provide a service that there's so many people, and I don't know if it's just because of HGTV and all those flipping shows or what, but I find that people outside of our industry are so fascinated with real estate investing, and a lot of them just don't know how to get involved. They don't have the time to get involved, but they are thinking about it. I have so many conversations where, professionals are like, gosh, I love real estate. I love the real asset aspect of it. So what we do as real estate investors is such a good service we provide to those folks. So every lender I've had has always been paid in full, always been paid on time, even if our deals lose money. And they're happy. Like they're incredibly excited about being able to make money in real estate with somebody that they know, like, and trust. So you guys keep that in mind as you start to do this going forward. I know for a lot of people, who are raising money, you may be like concerned because you don't have all the experience or you don't know all the legal aspects of it or you don't know certain components. The truth is that real estate is a team sport. So we leverage our title companies, our title attorneys, our self-directed IRA experts. Like for us, we use Advanta. If we have lenders who have questions about it, we're putting people in the right rooms. We don't have to know everything. In fact, I let the self-directed IRA people be the experts that they are. I don't need to be an expert. I need to know about it, how it works, and be um, educated enough to be able to talk about it, but I'm not the expert. So I wouldn't pretend to my lenders to be the expert. I connect them with somebody that I personally trust with a self-directed IRA company, as an example. And the same thing when there's legal questions. If somebody's like, well, what happens if you don't pay me? Like, well, then you would go to foreclosure and foreclose and take the property. I'm like, well, what does that look like? I'll connect them with a foreclosure attorney. Well, let me give you an attorney that you would probably end up using. They can walk you through that whole process. So just helping them to get educated. So don't let the fear of like not knowing every single component. Like I'm not an attorney. I don't know everything. So I refer people to attorneys and to CPAs and to self-directed IRA companies that I've built relationships with and that I trust. So my point is for you guys, don't let that stop you from taking the next step. You provide such a great service to people, people that know you, like you, and trust you, who also want to be involved in what you're doing in real estate. It's just cool if you let them know that they have that opportunity. And when you start doing that, I promise you'll be surprised about the responses and the results that you'll get. And then you guys are all gonna continue to buy your next deals and get better and better and better and better at real estate. And we talked about this yesterday. The real estate market today is fascinating. Interest rates are still up. They haven't came back down since mid 2022. The economy's kind of uncertain, but we're adjusting based on the circumstances that are in front of us. The benefit of today is the amount of competition is as light as I've seen it in 5 or 6 years. I've never seen it so light on wholesalers and house flippers and even people buying apartments. It's it's a great opportunity for us to be the experts in the industry, to still be in the game because we're doing things the right way. Um, it's we don't control the external circumstances. We just operate within them. We try to find inefficiencies in the marketplace that allow us to create profitable businesses and serve those who get an opportunity to work with us. So I'd encourage you guys to keep going, keep doing what you're doing. I applaud you guys for spending the last week in training with us, and I'm excited to see what you guys do. And for those of you guys who are going to keep training with us in the Capital Leap program, we're going to start on Tuesday. There's like 3 calls on Tuesday. One will be a welcome call. Dave, who was on here earlier, will be leading that call. And then we're going to start doing we're going to do some deep dive stuff into some of the details. And then we're going to start raising money together. And we're going to go on a 30-day money raising sprint together. And I'm going to do it with you guys. So I'm really excited about it. And if any of you guys are like, I don't know what you're talking about, Capital Leap. Well, if you were in our training, you should have seen what that was. If you didn't, you can schedule a call with our team anytime or just send us an email at info@sevenfigureflipping.com. Cool. Well, we just had somebody join. Jose, man, I was just signing off. You're late to the game. Cool. I appreciate you guys getting on. Appreciate you guys investing time and education in yourselves. And I hope to see you guys next week. I'll see you guys next week.
Thank you.
You got
Is
it.
it so,
Yeah.
since I missed some of the beginning too, do you think this one, I just saw your other link. Do you think the beginning of that would be on YouTube at all?
Yeah, it should be. Yeah, it should be. Uh, yeah, Hamer, I'm assuming that'll be on there, just like yesterday's was. Yep, it'll be on there.